From KMUW Wichita,
From Toronto, Ontario.
And from Armilla, Spain.
This is You're Saying It Wrong. Let's talk words.
We're gonna continue. Kathy was upset because we stopped early because we ran out of time on our anacronyms. So we're going to do two more, I think in honor of Kathy and in honor of this holiday season. Okay?
It makes me want to cry, Ross.
Kathy is ready to cry with this gift that I'm giving her right now.
And just to remind people, anacronyms are terms like dialing the phone that don't mean now what they used to mean, even though we still use them.
Right.
Right.
And Kathy was upset that we did not cover these two. So Kathy, do you want to open up with software patch?
Okay. The acronym is software patch. Did it come from the early programming page taping in patches, i.e. recording the data, then fixing said data? 2, literally a piece of tape patching a hole in an old computer punch card. Remember key punch operators?
I do. I was just going to say that, Kat. Yeah, go on.
3, derived from the buggy OpenOffice Apache software, clipped an Apache patch and uses a joke referring to the need to fix stuff that came out of the Apache software. Then it was broadened. And 4, we have 4 this time, coined by Ada Lovelace, often called the first computer programmer, based on patching or remedying a faulty gear when changing algorithms in the Babbage analytical engine, which is such a lovely term.
I know, I love that.
Isn't it?
I love that term. I agree.
Wow. So I have no idea. I have no idea which one of those it would be. The one about the Apache software confused me enough that I was about to pick that until you mentioned Ada Lovelace, and I'm always going to pick Ada Lovelace, so that's what I'm going with.
Fletcher, you also said you always pick horse racing, and what happened then?
Yeah, I'm so glad we got him on this one, Kathy. We did. The original meaning is literally a physical patch with tape on a punch card.
Yeah,
computer punch cards. You know those little cards, the little things. You know they had a long time ago. When we were kids, they always had do not fold, spindle, or mutilate. And spindle was like a real, what is spindling? I remember that as a kid.
Wow.
It's basically...
No, I mean, it makes sense that it's... I mean, I would have assumed it was just a term they picked up for fixing something that was wrong with your software. Like it didn't actually have any roots in actual computing, you know?
No. Actually,
the thing that got me is the software suppliers, literally distributed patches. They gave you little paper tape or punch cards so you could cut it out and patch the replacement segment. Like they'd be like, oh, this needed updating. So here, cut this out, put it on there, and it'll work again.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that reminds me a long time ago with VCRs and VHS tapes. I could literally, if the tape had a problem, I could literally put a little piece of tape on the tape, and it would work. You know, it was cool. So I literally. Oh, I got a question for both of you now. Speaking of patching, software patches. What about debugging?
I know that one.
Okay, let's see her, Kathy. Let's hear your theory.
It was Grace. I forget her name. She was a general or something in the Navy. Something I don't know. I don't like
wrong. Wrong.
And there was a bug in the thing.
That's not true.
It was all over the internet.
You can look it up.
Abraham Lincoln said the internet.
I feel vindicated for my mistake last time. No, apparently that's a common story. But apparently they found, looking back, in 1878, Thomas Edison writing about little bugs and it was also apparently used in debugging by Robert Oppenheimer. So no one's really sure, but that one seems to be more apocryphal than true.
Oh, shoot. I liked her.
But that's a run-of-the-mill sort of story. No, that's a bad segment.
Yes, very bad.
Okay, we're going to talk about run-of-the-mill origins. 1, originally referring to watching a millstone turning, i.e. a boring, repetitive act. 2, a play on grist for the mill, contrasting something that is useful to something that is not. 3, the first clothes or fabric generated from a weaving mill, produced before they could be checked for quality.
5, a racing nautical term.
Actually, you're right. Polo ponies racing in the
Right.
water. There we
So,
go.
yeah, there you go. Ooh, boy. Okay, I don't even remember what number 2 was, but I'm throwing that one out. It didn't feel right when you said it. So we got the actual just the millstone, or we've got the first run of the clothing.
Mhm.
Oof. Let's go with that one. We'll go with the clothing there.
Ah, shoot. We should have been racing, Ross.
You should have. You really should have.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
It was a weaving mill. The run of the mill was the stuff that was made before you could check for quality. So it might be good. The clothes might be great, but they could also be bad, or they could just be average. And then it became the meaning extended to just meaning ordinary or average. It wasn't. It wasn't just the first stuff. It was.
Yeah, the original meaning was really basically not sorted yet for quality.
Okay.
So it could be good, could be bad, like Kath said. I mean, it was anything, you didn't know.
And after a while, it just sort of flattened out to be just kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad, not good, just right.
Interesting. Wow.
And now, Kathy, let's come up to your retronym that you had mentioned earlier.
This I found interesting. Retronym is a term it's relatively new. I mean, it's only been around since about the 1980s. And it's unlike an acronym like we were talking about. This is something that differentiates the original form from something else, like analog watch. You used to just say watch. Then we got digital watches. So then you had to say, okay, this is not a digital watch, it's an analog watch. That's a retronym. Cool. It's a new term made up to refer to something that precedes in design, if you will, the current one.
Kind of like sweet potatoes, right? Because
that's a really Fletcher. That's an early retronym.
Yeah, I'll
that's
remind
really
people
good.
Originally sweet potatoes were just called potatoes, and potatoes were called Virginia potatoes, and over time Virginia potatoes became more popular and became potatoes, so we had to call potatoes sweet potatoes.
That's a really we should have thought of that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But we were trying to think of one. So we were trying to come up with retronyms. We came up with brick and mortar stores because that was all there was.
Sure. Also in English, we came up with British English. There used to be just English, but now we distinguish. We have American English and British English. We have to distinguish in this case. Classic rock.
Classic rock's a good one. You're right. Classic rock. I like that one. I hadn't thought of that. Acoustic guitar, electric guitar, acoustic anything actually.
Yeah.
Acoustic versions of a song, really.
Yeah. Live music. Let's think of some more. Fletcher, can you do some more? They're fun. I'm gonna cheat.
I'm not. Oh, that Ross, you stink. No, come on.
Wow, I never thought of this one. Cloth diaper.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. That's a near and dear to Fletcher's heart.
Yeah. There are a whole bunch, actually.
Black and white movie.
Black and white movie, black and white film. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bar soap.
Yeah. It's harder than you think to come up with, actually.
I'm trying to think of some too.
You're so used to just calling things what we call them.
I don't know, moving right along.
I like this. This was an email we got from Kevin from Morristown, who cleverly said, "This might be a dumb question, but why does dumb have a B on the end?" I like that, Kevin. Very clever. Yeah. Nice job.
Well, let's climb onto this question.
Ooh, Ross.
I mean, we do, right? Tomb, womb, climb.
Bomb.
Yeah, limb.
Lamb.
What is that all about? That's weird. Well, there's lots of silent B's.
In most of the
Yeah.
case, in most of the case, they were pronounced that way. Dumb comes from the Old English verb dumbian with a B, and the B was probably pronounced.
Yeah.
So it would
Are
have been
are
dumb.
yeah, so a lot are did it just kind of become a strange quirk in English that we ended up with MBs and silent Bs there? I mean, that obviously not all of these words came from the exact same place. I mean, it
Well,
just became acceptable to have a silent B.
well, think of it this way: the B, right? When we said a dumbian, the B is in the center of the
Yeah.
word,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
it's easy to pronounce a dumbian, right?
sure.
With the B, it's not that hard. But at the same time,
Mhm.
it's easy to also get rid of it, and then particularly when it's at the end, dumb. It has dumb now without an ending to it. It's hard to say. It's easier to say dumb.
Right.
And I think it's probably just simply, we get lazy or I mean, lazy is a bad word, but our mouth tends to like go for the easier pronunciation. And it's easier not to pronounce the B. And
Right.
that's what
Mhm.
happens.
But it seems
Mhm.
like it's happened with a lot of different words, and I assume they are all more or less shortened versions of other words or what used to be other words. Lamb, climb, tomb.
Yeah, like
Um,
climb was climbing.
Yeah.
Bomb
yeah,
came from
Yeah.
Italian, bomba. Yeah.
Bomba.
right.
Yeah.
So
In
it
that
just
sense,
kind of
again,
Mhm.
though,
it just kind of became acceptable for us to have MB. I guess the question is why did we drop everything after the B and not instead just drop the stuff after the M?
well, in most cases, though, the beast, like lamb, comes from lambas in old Proto-Germanic. In most cases, as I was saying before, the B is not at the end of the sentence, at the end of the word. And then when it comes at the end of the word, even if you want to pronounce the B, if you pronounce the B, you're actually adding a vowel to it. Lamb, you have to say something.
Sort of
Yeah,
a
but
See what I'm
like
saying?
yeah.
but like why did we keep the B with the spelling? Why I mean if we're going to drop the things after the B, why didn't we just keep on going and drop the B as well?
Well, I think we're gonna have to go back to the 13th century and ask people
Yeah.
that. I
I
think
mean
a lot
that's
of times
Yeah.
it just, but like we were talking about that a lot of times with we spelling tends to be more conservative than pronunciation. So
yeah.
I don't think it's that surprising. A lot of
I should
words. Go on, Kev.
no, go on. Yeah, I'm interrupting you and I apologize.
Oh
A
no,
lot of words.
a lot of words we spell and we pronounce very differently, but we spell them because we're
Well,
conservative when it comes to
lieutenant,
spelling.
lieutenant comes to mind immediately to
Hmm.
me, but I just want to say I just found an interesting thing by a professor of phonetics at the University of London, who said that the B sound was pretty much lost in the around
Right,
1300 up
right.
until that point. But he said there's only about, and this fascinated me, there are only about 20 words ending in MB.
Oh.
Wow.
And I thought, is that just says, I mean, ending in MB, mind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have bomb, climb, comb, crumb, dumb, lamb, limb, numb, thumb, tomb, womb. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would have thought for some reason when I saw that 20 words, I thought in my head, like when we were doing this right now, I thought, wow, there's a lot of MB words. And then suddenly I
Yeah.
was like, apparently not.
Well, they're all relatively common words, so
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean
they are.
maybe that just makes us feel like there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Because
I think
Yeah.
that's probably it. They're
yeah,
common. So you just assume, yeah, just I've heard these words.
yeah,
Hmm.
succumb.
Hmm.
That's from comb, I think it would be probably.
Oh, okay.
But I think the key thing really though is at the end of, I mean, we lose it because it's at the end of the word and it becomes uh easier not to pronounce it. And I'm
Oh,
just
sure.
thinking back actually when I was in the foreign service, the ambassador, we used to call him Ambo. The Ambo said this, but we added a vowel
A
to the end of
vowel.
the B. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, otherwise he would say am. He wouldn't say amb.
Yeah. Amba. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. So
Ambo sounds a lot better than amb.
it does. It does. But we never call it to his face anyway. Okay, let's give Fletcher this one quickly, Kath.
This is a sign that Ross saw at a local grocery store.
Okay. All right. So Kathy has sent me what this says. This is
It's obvious.
Boy. Okay. So I'll let me see how I can read this so that people can understand it with their ears. It says banana apostrophe S $0.99. So theoretically, they're telling us that that bananas cost 99 cents.
Okay, what's wrong with that, Fletcher?
Well,
we know you know it.
What's very obviously wrong with it is that it says banana apostrophe S. So you see this a lot. People putting an apostrophe before an S when all they mean is that it's plural. And I admit that I am maybe a bad enough person that no matter what the person is selling, I instantly become not interested when I see the apostrophe there. I just move on. Okay, so obviously that's what's wrong. Why are you bringing this up?
Okay, it's called a grocer's plural a lot of times because it's very common in grocery stores. The question we've got is it always wrong to use an apostrophe to make a plural?
Well,
that's our question. Everyone knows this is, I mean, a lot of people know that it's wrong in terms of bananas or whatever.
Right.
But is it ever correct to use an apostrophe to make a plural?
I've seen it. I mean, it still bugs me, but if I saw somebody write something like "mind your P's and Q's" and they put apostrophes after, P and Q, and the letters were lowercase, then I don't think I would be as bothered by it.
Kathy, do you want to weigh in with that?
I want to just actually say something else apropos of that, Ross, if you don't mind. I'm going to get off the
Sure.
like it's going to be a tangent. When I lived in Seattle, I'm a big baseball nut, and we followed the M's, and it was always like everybody would go M's, M apostrophe S, and I, because I'm like a really annoying pedant, would go M's, M lowercase S. But I learned I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
My pedantic M, which is really annoying, lowercase s, was incorrect. It should have been uppercase M apostrophe S, like everybody else did. So I was like posturing and making a fool of myself because what it was saying, I don't know why, Ross.
Well, here's what I was going to say, and this is not going to extend to what else you're going to talk about, I don't think. But I was thinking about like the A's who, I don't even know if they're with Oakland anymore. But you know who I'm talking about, the Athletics. You see A apostrophe S, and I always thought that was wrong too. But then I heard that apostrophe is actually standing in for all the letters between A and S.
Yes. Of course, it's a contraction.
Yes,
that was it. Okay, I couldn't remember. My mind blanked. I was like, why was it right? And I was wrong. Yes. Yeah. So when I was doing M lowercase s, I was going,
right. When everybody else was contracting the Aaroner part of
Mariners. Exactly. Right. So I was making a fool of myself.
Although, interestingly enough, as we were talking, I looked up "mind your P's and Q's" on Wikipedia, and they do not have the apostrophe. I think, to me, I think it is better to use the apostrophe.
Well, that's what I should have said instead of my tangent about the M's. It's like in most cases, you want the apostrophe to make things plural because when you've got a single letter, it gets confusing.
I completely agree with you.
Dot your I's, mind your P's. If it's PS, it's dot mind your piss.
Yeah, mind your, or yeah. And
dot your is.
And Merriam-Webster has P apostrophe S and Q apostrophe S. And I think we should take Merriam-Webster and say, we're going to mind our P's and Q's with apostrophes, and do's and don'ts. We're going to do and our don'ts. We're going to use apostrophes as well.
And also A's and M's.
Yes. Go M's or go A's. Yes.
Well, now, once I left Seattle, I was like, the hell with them. They let me down when I lived here. They finally did well when I moved. That's unfair.
They're still busy letting their fans down. I guess we do need the apostrophe s for those things. I think it was drilled into me so hard that the apostrophe does not go there for plurals, that it still kind of makes my skin crawl when I see it, even in those cases. But I mean, the goal is clarity, right? And if we don't have them there, it can make things unclear a little bit, or at least it can make things a little ambiguous. And so
Right.
if the primary goal is clarity, then we do
Have
sometimes
at
need
it.
those.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like what we were talking about the other week about abbreviations. To me it's very similar. It's something, you're right, that it makes you immediately, you look at it, you get it. You don't have to think and go dot your is and then go, oh, eyes, you know. Although, does anyone say dot your i's and cross your t's anymore?
I mean,
Or mind
do
your
they?
P's and Q's.
Well, no,
don't.
nobody says nobody says any of it.
No.
What about do's and don'ts?
Do's and don'ts I see, but I would put apostrophes in that.
I would too.
Ugh.
What about you, Fletcher?
I mean,
Can you do it?
I mean, yeah, I don't like it, but like otherwise it's gonna look like dose.
Yeah.
Now,
Don'ts.
don'ts is weird because you're gonna end up with two apostrophes like almost right next to each other.
Oh, I would do do's and don'ts. I would do just an S with don'ts.
Yeah, I probably would too. I don't want two apostrophes in the same word. That's weird to me.
No, that's
Actually,
just that's
I'm going to look this up. I'm curious now. Do's and don'ts. Dictionary.com has DOS and don'ts. I mean, nothing.
they have dos and don'ts.
Yes.
Do's and don'ts.
Cambridge Dictionary has DOS and don'ts. I'm saying DOS deliberately, in that
Right.
sense.
Right.
Wow. Okay. It's all over the place. English language, there's do's and other people are doing. It's all over the place.
I'd be okay with either one on that. I mean, once you see the and don'ts, it's probably pretty clear that the DOS is do's instead of dose or DOS.
Yeah.
But
Although interestingly,
I don't think I'd be too mad about DO apostrophe S. Not like with bananas.
interestingly enough, DO apostrophe S, in terms of the Google Ngram, which Kathy will tell us is not completely, it just does in print, but which is good in this case actually. DO apostrophe S is by far the most common.
Okay. Now I just did a plain old Google search, and DOS, dos and don'ts, I got 4 million results.
Okay.
DO apostrophe S, I only get 688,000. So dos and don'ts is the thing.
My thing here, I have it like literally, let's see, like 10 times the amount on the Google Ngram. It's interesting. So I think we're basically saying, who knows? Do what you think looks clear.
We go back to our usual advice.
I know. Here we go again. I know.
I would say tend very strongly to not using the apostrophe unless you really think it might be unclear what you're saying, because otherwise you end up with banana apostrophe S.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's like a great title for something. Otherwise you end up with banana apostrophe S.
And now for something completely different. We have a P from Deborah, and I'm curious what we all think about this. Okay, it's probably just a definition or grammar related. When I am at a restaurant and I have finished my meal and the server comes to the table and says, "Are you done?" I always respond with, "Yes, I'm finished." I'm not sure if this is an old-fashioned thing that my mother always said, or if it in fact holds the truth. In effect, what should we say? Can you say I'm done? She said, cookies and cakes are done. People are finished. I've been saying this to my family for years. Please let me know your thoughts on this.
I want to tell Deborah, we love you, and we're really glad that you're our listener, and it is very old-fashioned. I remember my English teacher saying something like that when I was in high school. Turkeys are done, people are finished. But nobody my age took that seriously when she said that. And that was a long time ago.
Ross, what is your opinion, Ross?
I'm with Fletcher on that. I don't really think the only thing is, in a way, I mean, this we go into, like, when I'm done, I would say at home. I might say I'm finished. I'm finished seems more formal, but I don't think it makes any real difference. Interestingly enough, though, we did find as late as 1965, Theodore Bernstein, the careful writer, the word done should not be used in good writing to mean finished or completed. It is proper to say the roast is done, but this does not mean it is finished. It means the roast is sufficiently cooked. I personally think all of this is just, it doesn't matter. I would say either one. Maybe finished sounds more formal, but I don't really think I would care.
I just want to say that Bernstein changed his mind.
Good. Go. Okay.
As time went on, I found something. He said he later changed his mind and said, "Yeah, it's okay." But people think. I mean, people do go back to it. Most. If you're going to look at it like a book now about usage, English usage, you probably wouldn't find the distinction, Deborah. Yeah. I don't. It's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with your making the distinction, but it's yeah. I don't. It's not really a big deal. Well, as we all know, I've said this a million times on this show. I'm very casual as I speak, so I would always. I would use either, and I wouldn't even think about it.
I wouldn't think about it either. No, I'm just thinking of a hypothetical waiter coming over and going, "Are you done?" And I go, "Yeah, thanks, I'm done."
Or I'd say,
"No,
I'm not."
I'm not done. Yeah,
that's really funny. Yeah. That's funny that you say that. I think it might sound, and this is somebody who I will use them interchangeably, and I won't think anything of it. But if the waiter came over to me and said, "Are you done?" that might sound a little more abrupt to me.
I was just thinking that's quite abrupt.
"Are you finished?"
That's what I was saying when I said one is more formal. And I think in a weird way, there's more formality when it comes to a waiter dealing with the customer. So maybe there's a politeness that you expect.
Yeah.
Like you might go like, "Are you done yet, Fletcher?" In that sense,
You're still eating.
I know. Oh God, what a pain. Yeah.
We want dessert.
I know.
That makes me feel horrible about the power imbalance, though, because if the waiter came over to me and said, "Are you done?" I might take that a little wrong. I might feel like he was trying to hurry me up. But if the waiter came over and said to me, "May I take your plate?" and I said, I would easily say to the waiter, "Yeah, I'm done." Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reflects that power imbalance. And now I feel bad about it. So I apologize to all of my servers.
Isn't part of it, though, again, we go back to like register. If the waiter came over and said, "Oh, excuse me, sir, are you done?" Or,
that's a good point, Kath. That's a good point. However, I think Fletcher's point is even better. Waiter shouldn't say done or finished. He said, "May I take your plate?" That solves the problem. This is a real pain. This has like a lot of controversy in it as well. We go to because versus since versus as.
Okay, the concept is similar words, but different uses. Or are they?
Because Fletcher is talking to us, since Fletcher is talking to us, as Fletcher is talking to us. We have three different usages which are kind of similar, but maybe not so similar.
Yeah. Okay. So let's finish that sentence. Because Fletcher is talking to us, we are sitting quietly. Since Fletcher is talking to us, we are sitting quietly. As Fletcher is talking to us, we are sitting quietly.
Mm-hmm.
They do have Can we verbalize this? They do have.
This is a really tough one. That's why we saved it for the end.
Yeah.
It's also a real pain. I mean,
Well, can you go into this then?
Okay.
They do slightly feel different to me, but I'm not sure why.
Let's start with because.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
wait a second, Ross. I'm sorry. Let's go to what I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, Ross. I apologize. I think we should say though they're all causal conjunctions. That's why.
Kathy, wait, I'm going to cut in front of you here. They all can be used as causal conjunctions.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
That's the key. They're not necessarily causal conjunctions.
You're right. Okay. I defer, Ross, to your superior brain at this point.
No, I'll let your superior brain go on with this.
Okay,
I just wanted to make that point.
What is a conjunction? A conjunction is a word that joins together sentences and clauses.
Mhm.
Okay, it joins stuff that might look like they're going like all over the joint, and it makes sense.
Right. And what's a causal conjunction then, Fletcher?
One that implies causation. So the second half of my sentence could go at the front, and I could say we are sitting quietly because Fletcher is
Right.
talking to us.
It's connecting
Perfect.
two clauses two clauses with a reason, a cause and effect. Exactly.
Mhm.
Now let's go to because. What is because?
Because is this thing is happening as a result of the other thing happening.
So you would say it's pretty much always a causal conjunction, wouldn't you?
I'm gonna say yes without thinking too hard about it. Yeah.
And you're right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving right along. Now, what about as and since?
Well, since is a little harder, although if I'm using it in a little bit of a different context, you'd say something like, it's been 3 weeks since I've eaten.
Yeah,
pork.
time based.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're sticking with the same kind of sentence, since Fletcher is talking to us, we are sitting quietly. That still seems pretty. I mean, that causation related. I can't
Right.
make a case for it being anything
Right.
else.
Good.
As is different though. As could imply that the two things are just happening at the same time, not necessarily that there's causation.
That's right. But since you're right, and you're right with since too. The one interesting thing is that usually this is like theoretical, and this is not necessarily hard and fast. But when we want to focus more on the result than the reason, as and since, even when it's still causal, tend to be used. Okay. And as
when
and
it's
since,
the reason. Oh, go on. Sorry.
oh, go on, Kathy. Go on.
I was going to say when it's the reason we tend to use because.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
So when I'm saying because, or when I'm saying as or since, it's less important that Fletcher is talking to us.
The result is more important, usually, not
it's more
always.
important that you're sitting
Right.
quietly.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
But the one thing is now a lot of style books have, this huge distinction. What did Gardner say about this, Kathy? Brian Gardner,
as?
Gardner's Modern English.
About as you're saying.
Yes.
He said in the causal sense, as should generally be avoided because he's not using as there, interestingly. It may be understood as having its more usual meaning, while, especially when it's placed anywhere but at the beginning of the sentence. So he's warning us that as might get a timely basis.
Okay, now here we go. Here's the sentence. There are two sentences here we can read. We had dessert as we watched TV. That's clearly, to me, not causal.
Right.
Okay. But what about this one? We had dessert as we had ice cream in the house. To me, even though he's warning against using it, I think it's clearly causal. Don't you think?
Well, yeah. Yes. What about we had dessert as we finished our dinner? As we'd finished, I'll even put the we had dessert as we'd finished our dinner.
I'm reading that. I'm hearing it as causal.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we had dessert while we were finishing our dinner.
No, I don't think so either.
Probably not. But I can understand why he would say generally don't use it, though. There are other options that will make things more clear.
I agree. But it is not hard and fast, which is, of course,
no.
Here we go back to the Kathy and Ross capricious rule of English. There's never who knows the who knows rule.
It's also important to think, like, we're taking these sentences as completely isolated. You usually wouldn't just be saying, the ice cream as we'd eaten dinner.
Right.
You'd usually be saying something else before and after, and contextually, I think that I don't think you'd be at all confused.
Yeah.
Am I right?
We normally don't have dessert, but last night we had dessert as we had ice cream in the house. Yeah. That would indicate to me pure causal. We had the ice cream and we ate it because. So I think that this is kind of tricky, and it is fuzzy, but I think we can see the differences between because, as, and
since.
And since. And speaking of fuzzy, we should move on to gaslighting.
Oh. Yeah, we're all over the joint.
No, but I think it's interesting because it does go into fuzziness again with language.
To me, it's so funny. Okay, this is one, Fletcher, I'm really curious to hear you weigh in on because Ross and I
Yeah.
differ on this one.
Uh-huh.
This is New York Tim wrote us and said, do kids use gaslighting too much? For me, it has a specific meaning.
Well.
Playing mind games to make someone believe they're going insane. But I think people are using it now to mean playing any sort of mind game. I grew up in show business. Around the time the movie The Producers came out, there was a story about how the play Angel Street, on which the movie Gaslight was based, was the inspiration for Springtime for Hitler. I love that the producers of Angel Street were convinced the play was going to flop and raise more money than they needed to mount the production. But feverish Googling yields no indication that this happened. I guess it was an urban legend. Anyway, gaslighting. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, here we go. Because I know the original meaning of gaslighting, but I instantly revert to the modern meaning. Kathy said she basically doesn't, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I guess Kathy and Tim, I think that's a losing battle for you. If it's actually a battle. I mean, it is now the more modern meaning, which is, somebody, playing mind games or trying to convince you of something that isn't true, or, it's a little bit of a hazy meaning, but it's definitely not just making somebody think that they're going insane.
I agree. I immediately revert to that.
What's a little more interesting to me then, because I think what I just said is more or less settled at this point, and I'm sorry to Kathy and Tim. What I think is more interesting is how would you talk about somebody having done that to somebody, like past tense? How would you say
gaslighted? I would say.
Would you say gaslighted?
Gaslighted.
Gaslit.
Yeah.
I would say gaslit.
No. No. Well, I think why? Because gaslight is like is a word. It's not. You're not like really saying lighted. Yeah. You're saying So I would say gas. You're adding ed to the entire word. So I would say gaslighted too.
Doesn't it feel a little weird though? I mean, I agree with you.
No, not to me.
So? Okay.
Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy has the concept of gaslighting now as what we were more talking about.
The modern version.
Yeah, and Merriam-Webster, psychological manipulation, causing the victim to question validity of your own thoughts or perceptions. Mm-hmm. So it could be. It's called broadening. We've talked about broadening of definitions before.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think to me though, I understand that, but I'm with Tim though. My automatic default though is Ingrid Bergman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to be honest with you, I don't use the term that often.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. But you see it. You see it every single day on the internet. If you're on the internet every day, it's almost impossible to avoid.
Oh, I have to ask before I forget. I know, Fletcher, you've been asking, but we need more words of the year from listeners.
Yes,
please.
Absolutely.
We do. We have a few that are interesting, but I would like to see some like outliers. You know what I mean? Don't you agree, Ross? Because the ones we've gotten so far are kind of what we'd have expected. So we're asking if you can think of what do you think, because this is for the next episode, what do you think the word of the year should be? Either a word that you think has been overused or that stands for this particular year, like 2025 was the year of blip. Let us know.
Well put, Kathy. 2025 was the year.
That's my word of the year.
You're Saying It Wrong is part of the NPR network and is produced in the studios of KMUW in Wichita, Kansas by me, Fletcher Powell. Kathy Petrus records from her home in Armia, Spain, Ross Petrus from his home in Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Torrin Anderson composed our theme music, and our digital team is Beth Golay and Carly Cooper. You can find all of our past episodes by subscribing to the You're Saying It Wrong podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or by visiting us at kmuw.org. If you have a question for Kathy and Ross, if you'd like to suggest a topic, or you just want to reach out, you can email me at powell@kmuw.org or email them at kandrpetrus@gmail.com. You can also email us a voice memo of you asking it your question. You might get your voice heard on air. If you'd like to do the same thing by downloading the KMUW app, you can do that and just click the Talk to Us button. You can find all of Kathy and Ross's books pretty much anywhere you get books, and a handful of them are also available on audiobook read by the authors themselves. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week.